man. Like, what do you call it? You give it a name. Give it a name. I understand, the tradition. St. James Park went through it, right? So, but anyways, but basically, when I look at Bournemouth, and I think, can they survive here? Can they survive? And you need to score goals in the Premier League to survive. Look at QPR; they struggle to score goals. Look at Burnley; they struggle to score goals. And I don't see any different with the Cherries. The Cherries are going to struggle to score goals, especially if Wilson leaves. Callum Wilson leaves. How are they going to replace it? Who are they going to replace it with? And that just a shorter transfer period. Some players that are already gone. So yeah, that's when you might not buy quality and you might buy a little bit of quantity. You know. So I think they're really going to have trouble scoring. Atsu King. I don't know if they how much goals they're actually going to provide, especially Joshua King. He's good. He's got a resume of inconsistency. Never done it on the Premier League level either. So which basically brings me, and actually, if I'm looking at this a little bit more, a couple of my stats here, I got a little bit more. They do have some experience. They got Mark Pugh in the midfield. Like and Andy Sermon. Actually, you know what? When I look at this squad a little bit more here, actually, like they got Andy Sermon. They got Dan Gosling. That's not bad experience. Premier League experience for the midfield. So like I don't think their midfield will be too weak. I think it's going to be the scoring and the defense that's going to be that's going to have to step up. The defense has got to step up to supplement the low scoring for sure. Sylvan Distan's got to have to lead the line. Um, Richie scoring from midfield. Sean McDonald, he hasn't really provided much, getting a little bit, older in the legs. So, and they got some quality keeping. But, so my prediction basically is that I think they're getting relegated. I don't think they have the goal scoring. I don't think they have the defense. They might shock a team or two at home with their goaltending. Has a big game. Midfield can kind of control something here, but and they have the crowd at Vitality Stadium could get on their backs and push them towards victory. But I think relegation, basically the betting odds have them at plus 500, plus 500,000 to win, just 500 to 1. So they ain't gonna win no Premier League. They are plus 120 to be relegated, which they are tied for second in that regards. So I think I'm leaning more towards relegation with these boys. I don't think I don't think all the promoted teams will be relegated, but I think Bournemouth, Cherries. Sorry, folks. I think you guys will be voted out at the end of this season. Moving on, we got Norwich City, the Canaries. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The Canaries, back in after a few years stunt. They got relegated last year and spent a year in the championship. So they actually defeated Middlesbrough 2-0 in Wembley in the playoffs to gain promotion through goals from Cameron Jerome and Nathan Redmond. Nathan Redmond, speedy little winger. I kind of like him. And they're managed by Alex Neil. He came on late. Came on in January, for the late push. So Alex Neil stays on. We're gonna see what he does. I think he's on a short leash, very short leash. I think Bournemouth's manager. I think he will be sacked in the fight for it, promotion. Even though I don't think they got much hope, and I think Neil will as well. And I'll get to my prediction a little bit later. But I do think they might come out to a quick start, but Neil's definitely on a hot seat. Came from Hamilton. They play at Carrow Road. One name. Love it. Carrow Road. Their scoring leaders last year were Cameron Jerome with 21. Former Stoke player. Brings lots of experience. Bradley Johnston, 17 goals from midfield. Said you need fucking goals from midfield to survive in this Premier League, especially when you're at the bottom. So Bradley Johnson, and he was with them 2 years ago in the Premier League, so he's got the experience. Gary Hooper, I love me some Gary Hooper. I'm a big Hoops fan. Big Hoops fan, England forward. I thought, he might push and break into the England national team at one point, Kind of had he had a very disappointing season when he finally got to the Premier League, fought some injuries. So hopefully this is the year he can break out. They need him to break out. I think he will break out. I think he might jump back onto the national scene. So I'm looking at around like 15 or 16 goals maybe. 15 goals for Hooper, I think he's going to get his playing time. Nathan Redmond, I was just saying earlier, 8 goals from the wing. I gotta love this speedy little guy. He's another one that might fight to get into this England national squad. So I like him. Howson and Houlihan, two more experienced players, creative midfielders. You need some, creativity is nice. Something the Bournemouth doesn't have. They have some holding midfielders, but they don't have the creativity in there. I kind of like it. When I look at their transfer situation, they lost Luciano Becchio. It doesn't really matter much, so that's all right. Coming into the Canary squad this year for the new campaign, Graham Dorns, Central Midi from West Brom. I like him. Scottish international. So he's a good fit for the squad. Help secure that little midfield depth for the holding midfielders and stuff. I don't think he's kind of got the legs to keep going forward to be a box-to-box midi these days. They also brought in Yusuf Malumbo, Now he's the solid holding midfielder they needed. I loved him in West Brom. I thought he had a good run for 2 years. Didn't play very much last year. Kind of got lost in the manager merry-go-round down there in the Hawthorns. But a big Malumbo fan, 151 Premier League appearances, so he's gonna help out a lot. The preseason though, I'm disappointed in. Staying mostly in England, got a match against West Ham, which is basically, their only real true test. All the matches are in England or Britain basically, so it kind of disappoints me for the Canaries. But maybe some home cooking. What does everybody do these days? A little stir, maybe some home cooking for the Canaries would just be what they needed to get this season started. They begin the new campaign with the first league match at home versus Crystal Palace. So that's a good place to start. I looked at a couple key dates for Norwich, and I was looking near the end of the season. That's when everything's going to come down. Everybody's going to be fighting. I think they're going to be near the bottom, but I'll get to that later. So April 23rd, they're at home versus Watford. April 16th, they're at home versus Sunderland. And April 9th, they're away versus Crystal Palace. I think these are all important because the 3 matches after that, the end of the season, are away at Arsenal, home against United, and away versus Everton. And I can't see them getting very many points out of that. So those 3 matches before that are crucial that they probably take away at least 2 wins. So, moving on. So, I think the positives. I think they got a lot of experienced Premier League players. They're gonna have a good run at this. I think they really are, man. Bringing in Graham Dorns and Malumbo helped shore up a midfield of Alex Tetley, Redmond, Elliot Bennett, who I haven't mentioned yet, Bradley Johnson, with Houlihan and Howson. And that's just the midfielders. That's all Premier League experienced midfielders. Their midfield is solid. Very solid. It's going to create some creativity in there going forward. And should release those forwards too. Because some of their defenders are going to have to mark those midfielders. They have experienced strikers as well. And they can score. Cameron Jerome, nothing special about him. He scores some goals. He'll score some timely goals. Hooper, as I was talking about earlier, Gary Hooper. I think he's going to have a good campaign this year. Ricky Van Wolfswinkel. Listen to this name. Ricky Van Wolfswinkel. I love to hear the English announcers pronounce this. Ricky Van Wolfswinkel. And, but he struggled. So let's see if he can get off the schneid. He's had some good years, back in Portugal. He scored some goals, but he struggled in England. Maybe he hasn't adapted. He was on loan last year. So and they also have Lafferty and Grabon for some depth. So the scoring's fine. The defense, though, oh man, inconsistent. That was the problem when they got relegated. Inconsistent defending. They have some experience, though, in the Prem, but inconsistent. They're just not good enough in my mind. Michael Turner. Man, I just don't think the quality's there. Basong. I think his best years are behind him. Quality's just not there. Mikal. Weak. Personally, weak. Olsen, the fullback, I think he's the best part of that back four, and he's been the best part for the last 4 or 5 campaigns, 4 to 5 last seasons. So, and they have Steve Whitaker, another fullback, but I think his best years are behind him as well. I just don't think the quality is there on defense, which means they got to score goals. But we'll see. Like I was saying, got to score goals to survive in this league. So my prediction is that they will survive. They will not be relegated. I think they're going to finish like 16th, 17th, 15th to 17th in that range. Maybe the last, scrapping it out in the last couple. Like I mentioned, those last 3 matches are tough. Maybe they can scrape a point out of the Toffees in the last match at Goodison Park. But I do think Alex Neil will be sacked. I think they'll get a manager with more experience to finish off this season, see him out, see him through to safety. Betting odds are 500 to 1 or plus 500,000 to win, so it really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. But they're plus 110 to be relegated. So I think actually they're second, plus 110. So, but I think they're survive. So I wouldn't play that bet. I'd play the plus. What was the for Bournemouth? I'd play plus 120 for Bournemouth to be relegated, and I like that bet. I like that bet at all. All right, they're done. Which brings me to the Hornets. Watford, the Hornets. They gained automatic promotion last year from the championship, finishing 2nd place. They got a new manager. Brought in a new one from Spain, Kiki Sanchez Flores. Fucking love the name. Kiki Sanchez Flores. El Chapo. But he's a former Valencia, Benfica, and Atletico Madrid manager. He's got lots of experience. He was at Getafe last year in La Liga. So he comes to Vicarage Road with a lot of experience. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do. I think he's going to survive. So I don't think he'll be getting fired, but I think he might be moving on at the end of the season. But anyways, scoring leaders last year for the Hornets, Watford, were Troy Deeney with 21, Matej Vidra with 18, former Udinese boy. So he's got some talent. He's got a little bit of tough. He's a big boy for what is it, Croatian? Don't think so. But he played in the Premier, Serie A. So he's a bigger guy for the Serie A. One of those stocky set piece header guys. Elman Abdi provided 10 goals from midfield. So that's not bad, Fernando Forestieri, he only provided 6. I didn't like his campaign last year. A little disappointing. Very disappointing. But then they got Odion Agalo. Came up with 20 goals. Nigerian international. He's going to be very important. Very important. He needs to make a difference. He has to make a difference for them to survive. Has to make a difference. But they haven't lost anybody in transfers. They've been very stingy. Haven't done a whole lot. So nobody out. They have a history of loans with Italy. But looking at their transfers this year, they brought in Jose Holebas, Greek international from Roma. Kind of shore up that fullback position. I kind of like that. 31-year-old now. So he's got some lot of experience playing in Europe and internationally. They brought over Etienne Capoue, holding midfielder from Tottenham. Never really broke through in Tottenham. Yeah, I really don't know what this. He's a utility man. He can play in the center back, fullback, holding midfielder. He kind of do it all, but I don't know how much quality he brings when he tries to do it all. I don't know if he's fucking cooking all the time. He's probably washing fucking dishes, like fucking scrubbing that fucking shit. But anyways, they brought in Sebastian Protl, defender from Werder Bremen. I kind of like. He's a big boy. He's a big boy, but is he quick? You gotta be quick playing the Premier League as a defender. You gotta have a quick mind more than anything. Quick first few steps, quick mind. You just don't have to be big. So we'll see. We'll see what he can do. And they brought in Gidris Giedrius Arluskas, keeper from Steaua Bucharest. I've actually watched him a whole lot in some of the Champions League group stages, some of the Europa League. So he's got a lot of experience. Won the Romanian league last year. You know, fucking was he? Yeah, European experience. Valon Barami, Hamburg. Yeah, second kind of rate. I don't know how much playing time he's gonna get. We'll see. We'll see what he can do. But I like them. They're taking the preseason to Germany. You know, they're going to play Braunschweig and Paderborn. They're going to finish up with Seville at home. So that's going to be a quite a test for them. So go heading over to Germany, a little bit bonding experience, finish up at Seville at home. So that'll be interesting if they can fucking get a result on a few of those. Confidence booster for the Hornets. They'll be fucking buzzing around hopefully in that first match. Speaking of the first match, they're away versus Everton. So, Goodison Park's a tough place to start. Everton's got a history of starting slow, though. Especially Martinez's teams, too. History of starting slow, so maybe they can jump on them. Taking away a point at Goodison Park's not a bad way to start at all. Not a bad way to start. Looking at some of their key dates, you know, too. April 23rd, away versus Norwich. April 30th, home versus Villa. May 15th, home versus Sunderland, which is the last match of the season. I think they're all key because why? Because I think they'll be fucking fighting for their lives. Fighting for their lives for safety from relegation. Positives from this team looking forward to the season. I look up front to their striking core with Dini and Vidra, Forresty and Fabrini. Agalho, who I was saying that he needs to make the biggest difference out of all the previous four names I just said. Agalho, Nigerian international, he's got to step up. Agalho and Dini and Vidra. That's going to be their triangle that they need to score goals with. And I think they'll score some goals. They've got an experienced manager, so I don't see them chasing a whole lot of matches either. I see them waiting for their moment. A lot of counterattacking, you know, trying to shore up that little bit of shaky defense, shore up that little bit of a shaky midfielder that they have. I like their keeper. They got some quality keepers. Hurlia Gomez, former Spurs fans, Spurs supporters knows this guy. He came on, had some exciting matches. He's an exciting keeper because sometimes he's fucking unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do. You know, he ran in some bad form. Spent a lot of time in the reserves for Spurs. Eventually found his way out. You know, but he's had a good couple seasons with the Hornets down in the championship. You know, they've been fighting for promotion for a couple years now, and they finally got it this year. So we'll see what they can do. And Arluskas, good backup. Good backup for him if anything happens. You know, he's got a lot of experience. And like I say, the negatives are midfield and defense. Just a lack of talent overall. Abdi, to me, only creator, really. And yeah, he brings some speed on the wing. But sorry about my fucking screen here, you know. I don't know why it's blanking out like that. I'm used to, like I said, I'm live on location, people. Live on location. But, like I said, and he provides some speed on the wing, so it'd be interesting. He'll be fun to watch. He'll be fun to watch. Defense, though, the new faces need to gel. The Prodel and Holobos, they need to gel quickly, you know, because I think they lack down there. Craig Cathright, you know, he's a vet, but he's a vet of the championship. You know, he's got to have to pull his gang together. I don't know if he can do this. Like, I think he's a good leader, but I think he's lacking in some quality, too, when it comes to skill a little bit. He's going to work his ass off, though. Joel Ekstrand, though, I think he brings a lot of quality. He's a young Swedish defender for them. So I'm looking forward to watching him. But the defense is weak. Yeah, straight up. I'll tell you right now. It's going to be a problem for them. Like I said, I think they're going to be relegated. I think their coach will be fired as well. They may fight for 17th. I think it's going to come down to those last matches with these guys, but I think in the end they will be relegated. They're minus 138 to be relegated, plus 750 to win this thing, so obviously you can throw that out, but minus 138 to be relegated to the favorites. I would put my money down on that. So that's been the Premier League season preview, 2015-2016 with the block. I am your host, Kyle Johnston. You can find me on Twitter at kj_theblock.com. You can find my blog at kylejohnstontheblock.wordpress.com. Glad you could be here. It's a rainy day out there, so baseball's back. So tune in some baseball. Let's see if the A's can make some. Let's see if the A's can track down the Angels, who I think is gonna win that. I was looking at the odds. I was almost putting money on the Angels. We'll see. But I'm Kyle Johnston. I'm your host. I'm out. Let's go die. See ya later.